Let's talk about breaking free from guilt. So I recently outlined this from a few talks I had at the end of 2024 and then January 1st with a few agents. And that's that some of the agents I talk to, they want to succeed at a whole different amazing level. And some of that planning, some of the feelings, they come with guilt. They come with like well, if I do want to get there, what do I need to sacrifice, right? Because I need to embrace this. And that's real talk right there. Because what you find in the process of becoming financially successful in real estate is that it does take some sacrifice, but it doesn't necessarily need to take sacrifice from your family or from you. And so I broke it down into these three things. If you need my notes, I'm just going to be reading from them. But number one, I put reframe your mindset around success. I want you to redefine what success means to you. I want you to acknowledge that success in business doesn't have to come at the expense of your family. It doesn't have to come at the expense of you taking time away from whatever time you've set to do whatever it is with your family. In fact, I mean, yesterday I was playing Mario Party with my family for like an hour and a half, or not yesterday, the day before. And success can mean thriving both professionally and personally. And I think here's where when you're redefining success, you've got to include in this the time when you incorporate both. It's like a mix. And I did it well at the beginning, and I've done it well now. But I mean, solely just to be frank, I only have two focuses, which is work and family. That's it. And work means a lot of different things. But at the very beginning, when my daughter was born, I was already a real estate agent. She's 18 now. And we would throw her in the car seat, my wife in the car with me, and we'd go show property. I mixed both together, and then we'd go and have lunch, or we'd go have dinner. And then I would take calls, and my wife would drive, and then I'd look up some stuff, and then we would do all of this together. That's the thing. And that's what success to me looked like at the time. Now, success looks different now. But one thing it still means is that for me, I need to be doing both sometimes, and that's okay. And sometimes one individually, right? And you have to give yourself permission to want to grow. I think sometimes we have this feeling, and this, by the way, this is still under reframing your mindset around success, number one. But give yourself permission to grow, because sometimes we have this guilt say, well, if I want to grow, I don't know that I can do, as long as everything's ethical. There are no limits. You can't be like, I don't know if I can do that or this. Look, it's going to take different things for you to get to where you want to get to, as long as you're focusing on your strengths, right? And so what I put here is there's nothing inherently selfish about wanting to reach your full potential. By doing so, you model ambition, resilience, and determination for those around you. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? And nothing wrong with it because you're just, I feel like you have a duty to yourself, a duty to those around you to show up your best possible self. Number two, set boundaries and priorities. I wrote a little bit more for this one because I think it is important, because sometimes as an agent, we get a call, we get a text at who knows what time, and we're responding, right? I know I've done it. Listen, best example, and it fed into my habit, which was not good, but best example is I'm walking, this is years ago, I'm walking in a Bourbon Street it must have been midnight or close to midnight, right? And I've got my wife and we're out at a Keller Williams event at the time. And I get an inquiry, like a lead, an online lead coming through. and I was like, hey, I'm calling it. So, and we're in Bourbon Street. It is so loud, right? So I go off to the side, make the call, and we start talking, and this person is real, right? So that feeds my habit. But again, looking back, I'm saying, should I, shouldn't I? Depends. I think you need to create your own boundaries. What does that mean for you, right? If it's family time, I'm not sure that you would do that during family time, right? In the theater. I don't know. Define what works for you. What are your work blocks? And are you going to be able to work outside of those blocks? And If you're going to say no strategically. I put this: learn to turn down opportunities or requests that detract from your core priorities. Not every client or business idea is worth sacrificing peace and family time. I did put that. And I think it's also important to notice that we get distracted as agents from so many different things that we sometimes lose focus on priorities. Like, what should you be focused on in your job? Is most of your business coming from referrals and past clients? And you should be definitely focused on that. If they get back to you, return their call, return their text, email them back at the right time. All right, have those boundaries for you. And I can't tell you what those are for you, but you've got to set them so you know what they are. Number 3, nurture both your professional and personal relationships. See, we talk about nurturing our leads, our online leads, or our database, but I don't hear anybody talk about nurturing your personal relationships with your wife and your kids and your mom and your dad and your brother and sister and friends. Like, that's just as important. Yeah, you're going to have regular check-ins with your database, but what about regular check-ins with your extended family, with your friends, with your family? And I mean, check-ins like, hey, let's sit down and talk about this. And I think the important piece while you're doing that is sharing the journey. What have you accomplished? Share it with them. And why is it important to them? Bring them into what you're doing so they can feel like they're part of the growth. And then under this, self-care. Oh man, stress from growth can build up quickly. And I put this down. I wrote this down. I put, make time for rest, exercise, hobbies, and activities that recharge you so you can show up fully at work and at home. Anyway, for me, I really wanted to touch on this because it came up quite a few times in conversations I had with top agents. And I want you to know that it's an okay thing. It's good to go through this. It's good to want more. It's amazing to have boundaries. So just make sure that the boundaries are ones that are good with your goals, and include your family in this, whatever your family looks like. Have an awesome day. We'll talk again tomorrow.